Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?
So, hello, everybody. This is Gene Bohensky with the Think Small podcast. Today, I have in us Arabi, who's the president and CEO of Block and Associates Realty, a very interesting company. In us has an interesting history how he came into owning a property management company from the IT sector. I think he's got some good points for our listenership to hear. So, thanks again, Ines. Let's get started. Tell us about how you got into your business.
Yeah, I'm super excited about being with you here, Gene, and I'm really excited about sharing some pointers with your listeners. So my name is Anas. I have been in the prop tech and property management industry for over 30 years. I've done things where built up some companies and sold it to national competitors, worked on companies that we took public, other companies where we took a division and made it so valuable to the point where we sold the division by itself as a business. And I worked for some technology companies that you might hear of and you know of, like RealPage and Zillow. And then recently, about 3 years ago, I hooked up with a company called Block and Associates Realty, which is a third-party property management company that offers services for owners and HOA boards to manage rental properties as well as HOAs. And we've gone through tremendous amount of growth and tremendous amount of innovation for the company. Right now, recently, we just did a partial acquisition. So we were sold off a portion of what we have to another bigger company. We're super excited about that because this was successful. And also the company has grown by buying other businesses to roll them into the Block brand. So we kind of saw it from both sides, a buyer and a seller, all in a matter of 3 years.
So you originally stated that you started in IT. Why don't you tell us a little bit how you went from IT into property management? I kind of like that story.
Yes. So prior to me working in real estate, I was actually, my education and my background is in IT. I worked for a hospitality industry or for a company that wrote software for the hospitality industry. And what happened was prior to me getting into real estate and prop tech, I was in IT. That's where my education, my background was. Worked for a company that serviced the hospitality industry by writing softwares for them. Right out of college, I started with this company that was very well known in the industry, but I had an idea about a software that was revolutionary back in those days, an innovation type similar to what you see today in Expedia and Orbitz. They allowed me to be able to build it. I did build it. We went to market. After we did go to market, we sold the software successfully, and we generated multiple millions of dollars in revenue. As a matter of fact, Hilton and Marriott companies were my two biggest clients. So I was thinking, hey, I'm going to get promoted. This is going to be great. Life is wonderful. I might be even getting some shares of the company. This was a private company. And what I got was a thank you letter with $100 gift certificate for Applebee's. While I appreciated the gesture, I just never figured that the gesture was equivalent to the effort that I put together. And I figured I needed to take my innovative mindset and innovation and do something else. So I figured the easy industry to enter back then was real estate. It had a low entry point. And I started in real estate, and then I transitioned into real estate and property management. So that's how I entered the prop tech and real estate industry.
Wow. I mean, a lot of people have gone through that, right? Where they do something so great for a company and it's not recognized. And it's sad, but it happens. But this kind of a message to you to start your own thing, right?
100%. Yes. I think it was an excellent point to be able to push me on to the entrepreneurship and kind of starting my own thing. The company that I started and built up right after that, it became the seventh largest company for volume of sales for my industry. And I sold it very profitably to a national player. So it certainly was very helpful and kind of pushed me in the right direction. And then I've duplicated that multiple times since then. So I'm happy with the results for sure.
So one of the things that you wanted to really stress, part of your success story is your relentless need to innovate and to try things. I thought it's something that you'd really want to tell our listenership about.
Yeah, I thought very long and hard about our conversations. And for a small business, in my perspective, you always have to be building for growth, scalability, and for operational excellence. But when you really take a step back and look about all of this, you have to have something that is going to make you unique, a point of difference, thinking out of the box, some type of innovation that really would make your business different than all the similar businesses that they offer similar services in your industry. And I also thought about talking about this topic. And the first thing that I want to tackle is the concept of innovation, because people, this word is such a elusive word that when you hear it, you kind of think of all the big, large, excellent, wonderful ideas, the creation of the telephone, the electricity, the railways, like all of that. And while those were wonderful, fantastic innovations, I'm certainly not asking a small business owners to build rockets to take us to Mars. What I'm really asking them to do is figure out small, innovative ways to be able to make your business different than all the other businesses out there. And I even did some research to be able to think about examples that they're not just mine, but other examples, just to really illustrate what I'm talking about and the concept of this innovation. So if you think of the company McDonald's, their innovation wasn't better food, it wasn't better burger. It was better design of their kitchen to be able to move, or for the employees to move faster so they can get that burger from beginning to end at a much faster pace compared to all of their competitors. So think about that. A restaurant's innovation had nothing to do with food. It was the way that they operated to be able to get the food prepared, right? Domino's delivered pizzas, well, no one else was delivering pizzas. Again, those are small, innovative ways that would make your business a little bit different than some of the other businesses and really truly will allow you to succeed and do very well. For me personally, what I found every time I had success, it always came back to this idea of innovation. Some small, some big for sure. But those innovative ideas are the ones that presented itself to produce the results that were much better than what you typically do on your own. Maybe I'll provide just a couple of very quick examples. So when I ran my own company in the early 2000s, the one that I sold to a national player, back then the industry was built around a 1099 contract. So you hired a lot of 1099 contractors. They went out, they generated the business. Once they generate the business, you split up the profit or the revenue with them. They've kept some, you kept some, and everybody was good with that. Well, the problem with that setup is when you do a 1099, you do not have the ability to control their production or what they do every day. You couldn't even ask them to come into the office if you want them to. A sales meeting was optional compared to mandatory because these guys were 1099 contractors. They were not employees. So I actually flipped the script and I said, well, if I really want to produce the results that I want, I need to monitor and mentor and coach a certain number of people. And the only way to be able to do that is make them employees versus 1099 contractors. Now, was the decision scary at first because you thought to yourself, oh my God, now I'm taking the heat of generating or paying somebody's payroll without getting the results up front? But when you really sit down and you do the numbers, it made sense. And we actually did that. With 5 full-time salespeople, we generated more sales than companies with 200 1099 salespeople. And the reason for that is because you were able to manage them correctly and help to coach and mentor and really truly hold them responsible for the production tasks and layers compared to just saying to them, go out, get the business, and once you generate it, we'll split it. That's what got us to become the 7th largest company in our industry in a matter of 4 years. That's where we were sold to a very national player because of that. And another example that I want to talk about more currently for Block is that our industry, again, was built around the one person manages everything for the owners. So if you think about a property manager or an HOA manager, they're the ones that they did all 100% of tasks for owners. And some of those tasks were needed to have the license. Some of them didn't need the license. So when we looked at it, we said, hey, we want to do a little bit more innovation around this. This is not the right setup. So let's do a couple of things. One, let's build a team that work with these owners, and they work with a bunch of owners instead of 1 or 2. And then number 2, let's also take a look at what the tasks that this team is responsible for Anything that is licensed or a need to be done locally, we will put that on local people. Anything that could be done administratively or from a remote perspective, let's hire people in the globe or from a global talent to be able to have them do that and get the benefit of better payroll. So when you looked at this combo, you've got the best of all worlds around. Number one, that property manager is feeling a heck of a lot better because they're not responsible for 100% of all of the tasks, right? They don't get a call at 2 a.m. in the morning because a faucet is leaking somewhere, right? And then what happened at the same token, the team was able to manage a lot higher of number of units compared to managing it, number of units by individuals. And then three, because of that makeup between the local licensed and unlicensed remote individuals, the payroll made perfect sense for the company to be able to hire great property managers, asset managers, and pay them very well. And then also hire very good administrative staff that kind of supported them to be able to do that. When you look at the metrics that we run with our teams and with our company, we're probably close to twice as many units that we handle compared to other companies. And we are much better at our first time resolution of calls and also providing much better experience. We put it in our contract that our return of communication policy is 2 to 4 hours on emergencies and 24 hours on regular routine work. And we've been coming close to like 99% of meeting those requirements. And the reason is not because we are, superhumans. What really is the ability to kind of take these concepts and kind of put them together and make these teams together and couple all of it to make it a little bit more innovation, a little bit more innovative.
I think the important takeaway, though, is that, and you said this, that the innovation doesn't have to be this like earth-shattering innovation.
Yeah,
that
100%.
any business, no matter what it is, has the opportunity to look at itself and to innovate in a way to improve productivity, improve performance, improve costs, and take a meaningful leap ahead of the competition. I mean, I've done a lot of podcasts with people, and a lot of them say the same thing. A lot of them have, during the course of their business, figured something out, right? And it
Yes.
requires having the mentality to do it, though, which you have,
Yes.
right? You're constantly looking for ways to innovate and improve your existing business, right? Just like McDonald's looked at the equipment in the kitchen, right? And
Yeah.
Domino's decided to do delivery, right? Which is what you
Yes.
stated. These are really important concepts for every business, because I know for a fact any business can innovate in some way. They can look at their competitors, figure out what their customers want, and see whether there's something that they could make themselves unique with that improves either the customer service, improves the costs, improves the ability to get business, any of those things.
100%. Examples over examples over examples that we can provide, that the really small innovative things that people do, but they actually produce some awesome results because they are separating this business from anyone else within their own little industry. I want to provide an example from a close friend of mine. He actually bought a laundromat, a regular pay laundromat that we all have probably grown up using, where you'd go into a laundromat and you exchange your cash for quarters or for coins, and then you basically use the coins to be able to operate the washing machines and the dryers. And when we looked at it, I went out to visit him and I'm like, well, look, you're looking at the laundromat in the wrong way. You're looking at it more in a way that people want to be in and out so fast. And the reality of it is, no matter how much or how fast you are, you're going to have to spend an hour or two at your laundromat between washing and drying and folding and all the activities that allows you to be able to do that. Now, two things we've noticed. Number one, people hated coming up with cash, and this was a constant problem, right? I don't know about you, Gene, but I don't carry a lot of cash with me.
I don't
Today's
carry
world
any
is all
cash.
exactly. Today's world is all digital, right? So if you change your machines to being digitized in a sense that you can take digital payment compared to like the coin payment, now you open yourself up for a lot of different people that can come into your establishment. The second thing that we said that we needed to do, and he did, was to install a free Wi-Fi in the place. And the reason why he installed the free Wi-Fi is because if you're going to spend a couple of hours at this laundromat, you would want to make it a useful, enjoyable experience instead of you staring at a washing machine rotating or a dryer rotating, right? It also allows you to bring your kids where they can possibly work on maybe some schoolwork, maybe some homework, maybe you read a book online. Like there is a lot of usage for the Wi-Fi. He did both of those two changes, right? So he moved from coin operated equipment to a digital paid equipment and he installed the Wi-Fi. The cost for both of those was literally around like maybe a couple of $100 a month extra. Okay. He quadrupled his business in 6 months. It's the same machines, the same people, the same location, the same everything, but he quadrupled the income in 6 months. And the reason why he quadrupled it is because people start coming into his establishment compared to another one because of the fact that now they can pay digitally instead of paying by coins. And then they can use the Wi-Fi to be able to do whatever they need to while they're there for those couple of hours. And again, I'm giving you this really simple example to show the size of the innovation. It doesn't always mean it needs to be like this earth-shattering, to your point, innovation. It could be anything that would work. When I worked for Altasource, one of the innovative ideas that we've had was we wanted to operate in all 50 states, but you didn't have enough units to be able to operate in 50 states. So what we did, we had more of like a proxy people that we hired to be able to manage on our behalf in the states where we didn't have enough units. We paid them well for it. And it operated in a sense that if I need you, I would call you and here's a work order. You go do X, Y, and Z for us. And that was it. That concept allowed us to manage over 10,000 units nationwide for large institutional players, banks, and private offices, where other companies were really struggling to be able to do the same thing in 50 offices. Now, it also required another innovation, which was the centralization of all of the back office work. Because what you really wanted these folks to do when they're in the local market is just the field work. I needed them to go take a picture, but I did not need them to put that picture on all of the listing sites that I need to be able to list that property or market it for our business.
The examples of innovation are really spot on. These are the type of things that any business can look at when they're looking at their business and trying to figure out where to go next. You can do
100%.
this from anywhere, from operations, from sales, from efficiency, right? From how you handle people, how you hire people. Do you hire them overseas? Do you have virtual assistants in the Philippines? Do you what all different type of possibilities that can help your operation become more profitable and more effective for your customers.
100%.
Anything else that you want to add to wrap up the presentation?
Yeah, I want to invite business owners to have an open mind, right? I'm sure we all have heard the definition of sanity. If you continue on doing the same thing, expecting different results, that's not going to work out, right? It's never going to be that way. So if you're a business owner and you're looking around, you don't have to think about large, huge, mammoth changes. Look for things that would allow you to provide better experience, allows you to do things a little bit more efficiently and more innovatively. And honestly, have an open mind to be able to really, truly be looking for something like this instead of just being so stuck into the old ways of doing business. And the last thing I would want to add is this world that we're in today, it really allows you to be able to innovate at a completely different ways versus before. I know we've all heard of the AI. I know we've all have probably heard about some companies that have used them for innovation. But I can tell you, while it might sound a little bit scary for a business owner when you hear the word AI, really think about like how you can use that to your own advantage slowly but surely. There is plenty of use cases for it, but it would allow you to innovate and get to where you need to get to. For example, for us as a company where we're at today, we've established 15 use cases where we would want to add AI for innovation. And we started the year building around those 15 use cases. Today, we've built probably around 5 or 6 use cases from beginning to end. And we've seen, we look at it as enabler. I want to make also that very clear. We're not trying to replace people with machines or with technology, but it does allow your people to be enabled. That enablement of enablement to be able to have what you need could be your innovation of itself to be able to allow you to provide better service, maybe sell more, maybe allow you to be able to do bigger and better things. Recently, we we partner up with a company that does text messages, bots, where basically it allows people to have a conversation with a technology AI through text messages about finding properties for rent. And we found that this have increased the scheduling of showings by at least about 40 to 45%. It does work. You just have to recognize what works for you and what works for your business, and having the open mind and kind of looking around and finding those ideas and apply them into your business.
And as you
and
mentioned
working
before, you
for
got to think out of the box, right?
100%.
You've got to think out of the box, and specifically with AI, to get that started, to wonder what it can even do for you. And I agree. As a final thought, all of our business owner listeners should be trying it out and working with AI to push for innovation in their own businesses. Well, Inas, it was a pleasure to have you on this podcast. I think our listeners are really going to take a lot away from it. Forward to talking to you again for another one.
I appreciate you, Gene. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure seeing you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?